Hey Houzzers, my name is Baylor, and today I'm going to show you how to make a living centerpiece in under 10 to 15 minutes. The twist is, at the end of the evening, you can disassemble it and give it away as gifts. You only need a few things for this project. The first is some sort of vase or vessel. I'm using a piece of cork. You might not be able to find it, this particular one, but you could use a piece of firewood. In a pinch, you could use a platter, why not? Or a piece of burlap. But you want something between your table and your plants. A really important element of this design is moss. This moss in particular is called sheet moss. You'll see that it grows really much in a sheet. There's clumping moss, there's reindeer moss, but this one works the best. And you'll need rubber bands. I like these because they're camouflaged and they tied right into the moss. But really, you can use office rubber bands, you could use twine, you could use bright colored ribbon. It's really up to you. You need a few air plants. I like these really miniature roses because they're so gorgeous and beautiful and they have really good flow. Next, I'm using a foliage plant. This one is called polka dot plant. I'm tying in all of these colors if you haven't noticed. So I'm sticking with reds and pinks and greens because I want some unity in my arrangement. This succulent, this one's an echeveria. I'm gonna use this one. And then next you want some sort of foliage plant. This one I really like, it's a dracaena. And lastly, I wanted something draping. This one's a peperomia, but really you could use any vine. This is what makes it so easy. You take your moss, you turn it upside down, which is the brown side up. Cut it into smaller pieces. You want just enough to cover the soil of your plant. You're going to unplant your plant, pull it out, give it a little squeeze so the roots can be set free. You set it on top of the moss, you wrap it around like a little burrito, pull out your rubber bands, wrap them around the moss. You might need a few of them. Let's see how they tie right in. I call this the quick and dirty method. I went to Japan and learned how to do it there, but they do it much more beautifully. Here you go, done. This time I'm gonna do the rose. Slowly unplant it, loosen the roots. Wrap it like a present, because it will be a present. Everyone can take them home at the end of the night, and they're so psyched to have a little plant in its own little living vase. Now that I'm putting together the last one, we get to assemble it, which is the most fun part. The one thing that you do want to remember, if you want to give them away as gifts at the end of the night, make sure you have enough for one for everybody. I kind of start on the edges and I start to move my plant. I want it to hang over the side, whether you've got a platter or if it's a piece of burlap, but just kind of angle them a little bit. Set that, and then I'll set another one to anchor it. It'll just hold them together. And again, you can change this around as you go. There are no rights and wrongs. I like a little bit of height in the center, but not too high. I also like them coming off the edge. One thing that you do want to remember is you don't want your arrangements too high. You want your guests to really be able to communicate across the table. I usually like to clump things together a little bit more, but since we have such continuity in the color palette here, I feel like I can spread out my similar plants. I have different sizes. I also have 2-inch as well as 4-inch containers that I've wrapped, so I have some really tiny arrangements and some bigger. I'm repeating the rose in a different variety right here in the front just because I thought it was a nice touch. The last thing I'm going to add is these tiny little echeveria. These tiny little succulents are really sweet with the moss balls. You can stack your moss balls on top of each other. You don't have to do everything side by side. Remember, some go straight up, some go out to the side. You want different angles. I'm going to put my 3 succulents together in one place. And then what I do want is I wanted this draping succulent. This is a peperomia, but really anything could work. So I'm gonna let that kind of drape off the edge of your arrangement. A vine would work, maybe a jasmine, or even an ivy. Those are really easy to get a hold of. Then the last step, and the easiest step, is the air plants. Those you just stick in. I particularly love these because they're in bloom. But even when they're just gray, I think they're pretty gorgeous. This last one I chose because of its pink color. I thought it was really nice repetition, and I'm gonna put that in the center. I think it's really nice to have big leafed plants as well as really airy plants in the same arrangement. And remember, there's no wrong or right, and you can move it around as many times as you like. That's the best thing about these little moss balls. They're called kokidama balls, or kokidama in Japan, but this is kind of a quick and dirty method. And there you go. There's your living centerpiece in under 10 minutes, and it's a gift that keeps on giving. I hope you're inspired to make your own living centerpiece, and for more inspiration and ideas and videos, go to houzz.com.